I've only been on Etsy for a few months and I've already seen so much growth. I'm going to share with you my revenue growth from month 1 to month 3 and the reasons why. A lot of people have questions about Etsy. Is it worth starting an Etsy shop? What products can you sell? How do you even get sales? I'm going to cover all of that in this video. If you have no idea what you want to sell on Etsy, start by asking yourself, do you want to sell a one-off piece or a design that you can sell lots of? If you take art as an example, you can create a piece of artwork that you sell, and once you've sold that item, you need to create another piece of artwork to sell. That would be more of an original design, an original piece of art that you can then sell and move on to the next project. If your product is more of a design rather than a one-off piece, you would sell that design, do it once and sell that design in the form of a print or even a printable, which would be a JPEG that you upload to Etsy and your customers can download it when they purchase it. So you wouldn't even have to send anything out. Then do some research on what people are selling on Etsy. Have a look at the homepage and look at the kinds of things that you can see there. You'll find things like candles, spa products, art prints, or handmade jewelry. There's all sorts on Etsy, and it's good to have a look around on the homepage to see what people sell. Then start brainstorming. When you sit down to start brainstorming, start by thinking about your own hobbies and interests and your own passions. If you're close to the product area, then you can make informed decisions about what would make a good product and really trust your own judgment on whether something is a good, valuable product. That being said, you might have an idea for a product that isn't related to your hobbies and interests, but maybe it's a current trend, and that's definitely worth exploring as well. In my case, I'm a bullet journaler and I bullet journal all the time, so it was easy for me to think of products that I could sell on Etsy to support journaling. Which brings me to my next point, mindset. If you're thinking about creating products for Etsy based on your own hobbies and interests, a small shift in mindset can really help reveal product ideas. If you consciously work on your craft and question why you're doing things the way that you're doing them and how they can be done better, that can really help you find valuable products that you can share with others. Then you'll just be thinking of product ideas while you're enjoying yourself, enjoying your hobby. For example, when I was preparing to set up my bullet journal for 2021, I thought about some of the things that take the most time when I set up. And I realised I set up a year at a glance page with 12 mini calendars, and I also set up a future log with 12 mini calendars. I set up annual trackers with 12 mini calendars, and I was thinking about how I can make that whole process quicker and easier and still enjoyable. In this situation, sit down with a piece of paper and jot down as many ideas as you can. Even if it doesn't seem like a good idea at the time, it's worth writing down because it could lead to other ideas. For example, with the calendars in my bullet journal, some of the ideas that I brainstormed were creating stickers so you don't have to write up all of the individual dates, using stamps, creating printables that you can just stick straight into your journal and not have to write anything down. Or I thought maybe I could just not use so many calendars in my setup. One year I just didn't set up a year at a glance page and I thought I'd just use my future log instead. Or I thought you could just draw the shape of the month and not write the individual dates in. That would speed up the process a bit. And then finally I thought, why not provide a template with the shape of the month already laid out, a stencil? Sometimes you know when you've hit the jackpot and you've thought of a really good idea. And other times you can just go through the process of elimination, which is why it's important to write down every idea that comes to mind and explore it properly. My initial thoughts were that stickers would be the best solution to the problem because they're quick and easy, and that solves the problem. But something just didn't feel right to me. I didn't want to put stickers in my bullet journal for those spreads, and I realised I like the hand-drawn look. So I decided to go with the stencil in the end, and I don't regret it. One thing that I really want to emphasise here is you might not always be 100% sure that you've got the perfect product. I could think of so many reasons why people wouldn't want to buy the calendar stencil, but At the same time, because I was close to the product area, I saw how much time it saved me in my setup and how valuable it would be for me. So if I felt like that, then other people are likely to feel like that too. So if you can see the value in your product, there will be other people who can too. Maybe not everyone. Some people will prefer stickers, some people will prefer stamps, but there will be people who prefer stencils and the hand-drawn look, and those are your customers. If you're close to the product area, you can trust your own instincts about what would make a good product. Once you've settled on an idea, it's time to do another round of research, this time targeting the specific product that you're creating. Type it into the search and see what comes up. When I typed in bullet journal, calendar stencil, nothing came up that was quite the same as my product idea. There were other stencils for creating monthly layouts, but nothing that actually laid out individual mini calendars for a whole year. So if you identify a gap in the market, go for it. If you find that there are products on Etsy that are similar to your idea, it's still worth exploring. You might find that there are small differences between your idea and what's being offered already, and that difference could make your product a viable option for buyers. For example, when I had the idea to create a stencil to complete the Wheel of Life exercise, I went on Etsy and I saw there were similar stencils. To create a Wheel of Life in your journal, you want to be able to create 10 circles, all within one big circle, and split it into 10 segments. I found circle trackers on Etsy that helped you draw the 10 circles in your journal, and there were some stencils that did the 10 segments for you too. But that wasn't quite what I wanted from my stencil. What if I wanted 8 segments in my circle, or 11? I wanted to provide more flexibility to have different numbers of categories in the Wheel of Life. So I decided to go ahead and make the Wheel of Life stencil. If you think it's a good idea and you find it valuable, other people will too. I'm going to keep saying that because it's true. So don't be put off if you see that other sellers are selling a similar product. Observe the differences. Different designs, different materials, all of it makes a difference, and your product might be a really good option to add to the selection. Now, if a similar product does exist, use it as an opportunity to find out whether a product is popular. Some key things to look out for: bestsellers, number of sales, and reviews. Etsy marks popular products in a seller's shop as a bestseller when it's rated well and has had lots of sales. So if you see that there's something similar to your product idea marked as a bestseller in someone else's shop, it can give you confidence that your idea is probably a good idea and it might be popular on Etsy. You can also look at the number of sales that a shop has had. Unfortunately, you can't look at the number of sales for a particular product, but if you can see that someone has had 20,000 sales in their shop and the product idea that's similar to yours is a bestseller, then that can give you some confidence that it's a good idea and it could probably sell well. You can actually look at the reviews for a particular product. That can help you build your product and build a product that people like. Once you have your product idea and validated it through your research, it's time to start thinking about how you're going to create it. You might already have a good idea about this from your brainstorming session earlier. I know when I was thinking about creating stencils, I knew at the time I'd probably use our 3D printer, or if I was going to go through the sticker option, then I would need to buy a cutting machine. So the first thing to do is think about your costs. How much will it cost to produce and send your item? Start with materials. What materials do you need to make it? Do you need plastic? Do you need paper? Do you need special high quality paper for fine prints? Do you need sticker paper? Do you need cloth, ink? Think it all through and put it in a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, whatever works for you. There's also investments, things that you need to invest in to create the product. Do you need to buy a cutting machine, a new printer, a 3D printer, a steam press? Think of what you need and put that cost down as well. The final cost to think about is the cost of your time. How long will it take you to prepare the product, create the product, finish the product? And how long will it take you to wrap it, to send it, buy postage, whatever it is you need to do, or even if it's a design, how long it takes to design it. Think about those costs and add those in too. At this point, you should have already thought about the supplies you need, how much it's going to cost, and the process of creating your product. So it's now time to think about pricing the product. When thinking about pricing the product, there are two things to consider: the cost of making your product and the cost of similar items on Etsy. So have a look around again, see how much similar items cost, and observe the differences between products if one seller sells the same product for a price and another one sells it for a different price. Are they using different materials? Are there different designs? Observe the differences so you can figure out where your product sits on that scale. This is also an opportunity for you to decide whether you're creating a value product or a premium product, which will also factor into the price. If there aren't similar products on Etsy to your idea, think about the value it offers to your customers. If you're close to your product area, think about how much you would pay for it. For example, with my most recent product, my grid spacing ruler, I thought about how much value that gives me. I know that I like to use my journal for reflection and for mindfulness and for productivity. And I don't want to sit there and count up spaces every time I want to divide my page up equally. That's not the part of journaling that I enjoy. So this ruler would save me time. I'd be able to divide the page up really quickly, not have to count spaces, not have to set up a grid spacing cheat sheet and flick back to it every time I want to create a new spread. I was aware of how much value that would bring to me, which inevitably means it will provide value to others too. If you really understand the value that your product offers, then other people will see it too. Once you've got your listing up on Etsy, one of the most important things to focus on for sales is increasing your chances of being found through Etsy search and making sure that people want to click on your listing. The way to increase your click-through rate is to focus on photography. Take really good photos of your product. Use props if you need to create a nice frame, to create a nice vibe for your photos. Use a nice desk. Lay it out so that it's appealing for people to click on. Then, to increase your chances of coming up in Etsy search results, you need to have a strong title, description, and tags. When thinking about what you want to have as a title for your product, do some research on Etsy. Do a search yourself, but don't do it under your own account. If you've clicked on anything on Etsy from another seller, you're more likely to see their products. So your search results are tailored to what you've already searched for in the past and what you've clicked on. Instead, open a new incognito browser and sign out of Etsy. You shouldn't be signed in anyway if you do this, and search for the product. Then you'll get an unbiased view of what comes up in the generic search results. Have a look at what the top items have as a title and a description, and let that guide you when you're deciding on your own. You also need to have tags. Etsy allows you to have a certain number of tags with your product, so make sure you use all of them to increase your chances of being found. Focusing on search and click-through rate are so important for being found on Etsy. That being said, that isn't what I focused on when I did my products. I was creating a YouTube video about the Wheel of Life exercise, and that determined what my product was going to be. So I actually shared my product on social media without focusing too much on being found on Etsy. So using social media to give your sales a boost can really help. The help that I've had from social media has put my products on Etsy on the first page of Etsy search results. I tested it today. All 4 of my products are on the first page when you search for bullet journal stencils, bullet journal stationery, bullet journal supplies, all the things that people might search. My stencils are there on the first page because my products were sold quickly and were rated really well by people on social media that follow me. So thank you so much for everyone who supports my YouTube channel, my Etsy shop, my Instagram. You don't know how much you've helped me, and I really appreciate it. If you're planning to embrace the social media route, some ideas that you could use are doing a YouTube video to show how you use your product, doing a reel on Instagram, which is a 30-second video showing how you've used your product. You can also do a reel showing how you've created your product. It's always interesting for people to see what goes on behind the scenes. You could do a blog post, you can share on TikTok, you can share on Twitter, whichever platform you prefer, share it. As you get more sales, you might even get people sharing photos of themselves using your product. That's a huge help. People that do this are amazing. They don't know how much they can help you out by sharing your product. The last thing that I'm going to cover with you today is growth. I've only been on Etsy for a few months and I've already seen so much growth. I'm going to share with you my revenue growth from month 1 to month 3 and the reasons why. Once you've had a few sales, buyers will see how many sales you've had and you'll also start getting some reviews. The important thing is to focus on getting those 5-star reviews so buyers feel comfortable that they can trust your shop and your products. The way to get these reviews is simply by asking. You'll be amazed by how many people are willing to help you out and leave a review for you if you just ask. One thing you could do if you plan to send thank you cards with your product is put a little note in there to say how much it would mean to you if the buyer could leave a review on your Etsy shop. People are really willing to help if they know how much it means to you, and they might not even be aware of how much it helps. So mentioning it there can really help you out. A piece of advice that I always remember from Pat Flynn is the fortune is in the follow-up. So something I did at the very beginning after my first few sales is that I sent some messages on Etsy Messenger to my first few buyers and just followed up with them and asked if they could leave a review. Those first few reviews are so important. I've also noticed that when I look at the reviews, the buyers are always commenting on fast shipping and packaging. So I think focusing on creating a nice experience for your buyer so that they enjoy unwrapping it and enjoy the process of receiving it can really help you get those good reviews. My next point about growth is adding more products to your shop. If you want to grow your Etsy shop and grow your Etsy revenue, add more products to your shop and make sure they're good products. If people like your products and they had a good experience the first time, they will buy from you again. The other thing to note is when you have more products in your shop, if someone stumbles upon your latest product, they'll look at the other products in your shop. Most orders that I see have more than one product, and that can really give your revenue a boost. So it's the moment of truth. Here are my numbers for my first 3 months on Etsy, and this can help give you an idea of what you could do if you wanted to start Etsy as a side business or even a full-time business. So for month 1, when I released my first stencil, the Wheel of Life stencil, I earned around $81. In month 2, when I added my second stencil, my Simple Things stencil, I earned around $245. In month 3, when I added my third product, the calendar stencil, I earned around $2,000 on Etsy. So you can see how my total revenue increased each month as my shop was getting more sales, I was getting more reviews, and more importantly, there were more products in the shop to buy. So if you have a day job already, you can see that you can earn a decent amount of pocket money through Etsy on the side. Or if you're a content creator like me and you have other streams of income like AdSense through YouTube or your blog, or sponsored videos and sponsored posts, or affiliate income through promoting the brands that you love, you can add that all up with your Etsy income and have a pretty good starting salary for yourself. And I say starting salary because you can always grow. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing more content like this, whether it's how to set up your own online business through YouTube, a blog, or products, or if you want to see behind the scenes footage on how I create my own products. I'm happy to share openly and freely everything I've learned on this journey in the hope that it can help others create a side business or create their own dream job. Thanks for watching. I hope you know how much I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next video.